Hey guys, come on in. I wanted to chat with you both about something.
Who me?
Yeah, come sit down.
What's up?
Well, as you guys are getting older, there's something I think is really important.
Yeah.
Something that can really help you make good choices in life and figure out what really matters.
What is it?
It's this concept called discernment.
Discernment. That sounds kind of...
Yeah, I know it might sound like a stuffy word,
Yeah.
but trust me, it's actually like a superpower for navigating life.
A superpower. Okay, I'm all ears.
So discernment is really all about making smart choices.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding what's truly important and being able to see through all the noise and distractions that are out there.
So like not getting fooled by all this stuff that's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to be faced with a lot of decisions as you grow up, and having good discernment can really help you make the best ones.
That makes sense. But where do we even start with this?
Well, to get a handle on this discernment thing, we're going to look at what both ancient wisdom and modern dictionaries have to say about it.
Okay, sounds interesting.
So first, let's look at the dictionary definition. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, discernment is simply the ability to judge people and things well. It's like being really savvy,
Oh, I get it. Like having that sharp sense of judgment
Exactly.
so you can make the right call.
Yeah, and that's what I want for you guys to be savvy, to make choices that lead to a good life, a life you can be proud of.
I like the sound of that.
So it's important, right?
Yeah, but why is it such a big deal? I mean, it's not like we're making life or death decisions every day.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But think about it this way. There's a verse in the Bible, Deuteronomy 32.28,
Okay.
that talks about a nation without discernment. It says, they are a nation without sense. There's no discernment in them.
Doesn't sound too good.
No, it doesn't. But then we can contrast that with another verse, Proverbs 28.2,
Okay.
which says, when a country is rebellious, it has many rulers, but a ruler with discernment and knowledge maintains order.
Oh, wow. So discernment is about leadership too.
Yeah, it is. It brings stability, good leadership, and the ability to make the right call even when things are tough.
So it's not just about making good choices for ourselves,
No, it's not.
but also about the kind of leaders we become and the kind of world we create.
That's it. You got it. It's about understanding that our choices have ripple effects. They impact the people around us and even society as a whole.
Wow, that's powerful.
So how do we actually develop this superpower of discernment?
Yeah, that's a good question. Where does it come from?
Well, the Bible offers some guidance on that too.
Yeah.
Proverbs 2.2-5 tells us that we need to actively seek wisdom and understanding to dig for it, like hidden treasure.
Like it's something valuable.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
not something that just happens automatically.
So it takes effort.
It does, but the rewards are worth it. And remember, developing discernment is a journey, not a destination. It's something we'll be working on our whole lives.
Got it. So we just have to keep learning and growing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, here's something really important to keep in mind. Discernment isn't just about how smart we are.
Oh.
There's a bigger picture here.
What do you mean?
Well, we can actually tap into a source of wisdom that's beyond ourselves.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Well, in James 1.5, it says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you.
Oh, so we don't have to figure it all out on our own?
Exactly. There's no shame in asking for help, for guidance from something greater than ourselves.
That makes sense. But how do we know what God's wisdom is? How do we even hear it?
Well, that's where spiritual discernment comes in. 1 Corinthians 2.14-15 talks about how the Holy Spirit gives us a different perspective, a way of seeing things from a higher angle.
Interesting. So it's like having a special lens that helps us understand what's truly good and right.
You got it. It's a combination of our own effort and seeking guidance from something bigger than ourselves.
That's pretty powerful. So now how do we actually put this discernment thing into action?
That's what we're going to talk about next.
Awesome. I'm ready for the practical stuff.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so how do we actually use discernment in everyday life? I mean, it's not like we're making huge decisions all the time.
You're right. You don't have to be dealing with some major life choice to use discernment. It's really about applying this kind of thinking to everything, even the small stuff.
Okay, I see what you mean. Can you give us an example?
Sure, think about who you choose to hang out with.
Yeah.
That's a decision you're making all the time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Using discernment would mean thinking about whether your friends share similar values. If they encourage you to be your best self, if you just feel good when you're around them.
So it's not just about whether someone's fun to be around,
Right.
but also about whether they're a good influence.
Exactly. Discernment is about looking beneath the surface. asking those deeper questions.
Okay, I get it. So what about other choices, like everyday stuff?
It applies there too. Think about what you choose to watch or read or how you spend your free time. All of those things might seem small, but they can actually have a big impact on who you become.
So even choosing between playing video games or reading a book could be a matter of discernment.
Absolutely. It's about being mindful and intentional with your choices, making sure they align with what you value most and the kind of person you want to be.
Wow. I'm starting to see how this discernment thing can be really helpful even in those everyday situations. But how do we actually get better at it?
Well, remember what we talked about earlier. It's like a muscle you have to exercise. The more you practice making thoughtful choices, the better you'll get at it.
Right, like training your mind to look deeper and ask the right questions.
You got it. And remember, you're not alone in this. It's okay to ask for guidance. Talking to people you trust, family, teachers, mentors can really help. And of course, praying and seeking wisdom from God is always a good idea.
That makes sense. But sometimes it's hard to know what the right choice is, even when you try to think things through carefully.
That's true. And that's why having a strong foundation is so important. That's where those verses from the Bible come in. They give us a framework, a set of values that can guide our decisions.
You mean like a moral compass?
Exactly. It's about aligning your heart and mind with what God wants for you, which is ultimately about love, truth, and justice.
So it's not just about figuring out what's best for me personally.
No.
It's also about considering what's right in a bigger sense.
That's right. It's about understanding that our choices have consequences not just for ourselves, but for others as well. And that's why it's so important to cultivate that spiritual side of discernment.
It helps you see beyond your own limited perspective and make choices that are good for everyone involved.
Exactly. Now, I know this might seem like a lot to take in, but I really believe that developing discernment is one of the most important things you can do as you grow up.
Okay, I'm starting to see that. But what if we mess up? What if we make the wrong choice?
We all make mistakes. It's part of being human. The important thing is to learn from them and keep moving forward. And remember, even when you do make a mistake, you can always ask for forgiveness and guidance. God's grace is always there for us.
That's good to know. So what's the next step? How do we put all this into practice?
Let's think back to a time when you had to make a tough choice. Maybe it was about a friend or something at school or anything else that comes to mind.
Okay, I'm thinking.
What factors did you consider? Did you talk to anyone for advice? How did you decide what to do? I'm curious to hear about your experiences too, and I'll share some of mine as well. Sometimes just talking about these things can help us sharpen our discernment skills. What do you say?
You know, as we've been talking about all this, I keep thinking back to that verse in Proverbs about seeking wisdom like hidden treasure.
Proverbs 2.2-5.
Yeah, that one. It really makes you think about the rewards of developing discernment.
It does. It's like there's this whole treasure chest of good things waiting for us when we learn to make wise choices.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, for one thing, think about the peace of mind you get when you know you've made the right decision. That feeling of calmness and confidence, it's really priceless.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like when you study really hard for a test and you feel good going into it because you know you've prepared.
Exactly. Or think about your relationships. When you're discerning in how you treat others, when you're thoughtful and respectful, it builds trust and makes those relationships stronger.
So discernment isn't just about making good choices for yourself. It also helps you be a better friend, brother, son.
That's right. It's about understanding that our choices impact the people around us and being mindful of that.
What else is in that treasure chest of reward?
Well, there's another treasure in there that might surprise you.
What's that?
Joy.
Joy.
Really? Yes. When you're using discernment to pursue what's good and true, when you're making choices that align with your values and God's will, there's a deep sense of joy that comes from knowing you're on the right path.
That makes sense. It's like when you do something nice for someone else and it just makes you feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that true happiness comes from living a life of purpose and integrity, and that's what discernment helps us do.
Okay. I'm convinced discernment is definitely worth the effort.
I'm glad to hear that. But remember, it's not always easy. There will be times when you face really tough choices, times when you're tempted to take the easy road or do what feels good in the moment, even if you know it's not the right thing to do.
So how do we stay on track when that happens?
That's when you really need to lean on those discernment muscles. Remember to pray, seek guidance from others, and trust that God will give you the strength and wisdom to make the right choice.
And don't be afraid to ask for help, right? Sometimes just talking things through with someone you trust can make all the difference.
You got it. Now, before we wrap up, there's one more verse I want to share with you. It's from 1 Thessalonians 5:21.
Okay.
And it says, "Examine everything carefully, hold fast to that which is good."
What does that mean for us?
It's a reminder to be discerning in everything we do, to not just accept things at face value, but to really think critically and evaluate them based on what we know to be true and good.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Especially today with so much information and opinions flying around.
It is. It's like we need to develop a filter to sift through all the noise and figure out what's really important.
So discernment is also about protecting ourselves from harmful influences.
Exactly. It's about building that strong foundation, that moral compass that can guide us through all the challenges of life.
I think that's the greatest treasure that discernment offers us. The ability to live a life that is authentic, meaningful, and filled with purpose.
Well said. Guys, I know we've covered a lot today, but I hope you see how important discernment is. It's a skill that will serve you well throughout your lives, and I want you to know that I'm always here for you, to help you navigate those tough decisions and celebrate your victories along the way.
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Keep learning, keep growing, and never stop seeking wisdom.
And most importantly, remember that you are loved and you are capable of amazing things. Go out there and make a difference in the world. I believe in you both.